All right, guys. After a brief hiatus, we are back, and we've got a full plate of movie news for you guys to talk about today. Starting off, we'll talk about in our breaking news, Mulan, seemingly debuting on Disney Plus, but with a caveat. Dune director Denis Villeneuve talks about his sprint to try and get his movie finished by the release date. We also have Matthew Vaughn talking about Kingsman and upcoming Kingsman 3. Last couple moments we got Bradley Cooper confirmed with a movie with Paul Thomas Anderson. And then lastly, we have Brad Pitt and a new person from the Kissing Booth 2 joining a assassin thriller. Let's get right into it. All right, guys, welcome back to ReelTime News, where we give you all the latest up-to-date movie news on a weekly basis. Sorry for the brief hiatus. I have, for some of you who do not know, I am also a professional photographer, and I have just been slammed busy, which is a good thing. I've been slammed busy with photography, and when you do the photo shoot, you also have photos that come with it to edit and get everything ready for your clients on a timely basis. So I apologize for being gone for about 3 weeks now. But we are back. I'll promise. I think things are slowing down. I still have clients coming down the way, but I think I'll be able to get this back to you guys on a weekly basis. Coming back and joining us, as always, is my good friend Casey. How you doing, bud?
Doing good, man. Yeah, some of that photo editing, it's harder on the back end than the front end. So
it takes especially if you want to give it
a lot more work involved there. So I mean, keep doing the good fight, keep making the money. But yeah. I'll be here waiting for you whenever you want to talk movies, buddy. I promise.
Yeah, that's right. I appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, it takes a lot of work to get those photos done, especially if you want to give your clients the best quality possible.
Oh yes, sir.
And that's what we do here at ReelTime. We want to always give you the best quality videos, as always. Give you guys all the best discussions we can. So starting off with that, let's get into our breaking news, which at the time of this recording is about 2 hours ago?
Yeah, I was sitting at a dance recital waiting to get this recorded, coming to meet you up, and you sent me the message that this was happening. I thought, oh.
Yeah. So according to Variety, and Casey, you called this.
Told you.
If people go back to our videos 2 weeks ago, to the last two segments, I believe you called this. According to Variety, Mulan will premiere on Disney Plus September 4th, but with a caveat. According to them, even with including their subscribers, which has hit 60.5 million people, even when including those subscribers, if you want to see Mulan on September 4th, starting from there, and it's going to be on rental from then on until they just keep it, until they give it to the subscribers for free, you have to pay $30 to see this movie. Now, according to Disney CEO Bob Chapek, I can't pronounce his name, but he is the new CEO over there at Disney, and he also said the following, that they're looking at Mulan as a one-off. I doubt it. They're looking at Mulan as a one-off and seeing how their numbers do when they have the money coming in, see how many people actually pay for Mulan, and see what money they come in out on the back end. Now, I did the math on this one, and so they have 60.5 million subscribers. Even if 8 million people out of that 60 million pay for this film, the movie was a $200 million budget, and you would say maybe 50 to 60 million for advertisements and marketing. They would make $240 million, which is pretty much gives them back their budget, which is a very interesting model. And they did say that they're going to look at these numbers afterwards. I doubt they'll tell us. But Casey,
we're never going to get the truth.
No, you were never going to get the truth. But Casey, coming at you, throwing at you, what do you think about this news? And I know you called it, but what do you think about the $30 mark? You think people will pay to see it?
Here's the thing. I think that this movie is going to be a bit of an outlier. Mm-hmm. We said that with Trolls, so maybe the exception becomes the rule at a certain point.
Yep.
But like I said, when I predicted this was going to go this direction, we just don't know when families are going to feel safe going to the theaters again. As an individual person, Tenet, I'm not going to take my kid to see Tenet. I'm going by myself. I'm going to be as safe as possible. That's fine.
Well, Tenet's also delayed indefinitely, so.
September, right? They pushed it. They are going to, and they're going to go to any markets that are safe.
Yeah, that are open, not necessarily the U.S., but the ones that are open.
No, you're going. It's going to get an international release, so be careful of
Mm-hmm.
spoilers when that comes out. It's going to get its international release because other countries took care of their stuff. We didn't, so they're going to get this movie before us. But you will see the other markets. I think the markets that we're in will probably get it before the major markets, which is sort of turning this model on its head. But going back to Mulan. The $30 price point is closer to what I thought we were going to see for movies on demand. I've had this conversation. I don't know if I actually asked you, but I think people are sort of burnt out on the live action Disney remakes. So I don't know that this is going to be a successful test for them to figure out what they can get away with for a high price point like that.
You think they should have done something else?
I think that they should have done it with Black Widow.
Well, fans are demanding it after I saw.
The question is, though, and I mean, this was brought up on multiple sources or multiple talking points. I heard it all over the place when they delayed the James Bond movie. Was what's the price point? What are you willing to pay? Because I think it's much higher than $30. I think for Black Widow, it's $50. You know, and people are going to get together and watch it. It's what's going to happen. It's what's going to happen with something like Mulan too, I think. But with the semi-broken system, in my opinion, that we have when it comes to these movies being on VOD and you get them for 48 hours, there are lots of ways to cheat the system with this and split a price with people. I'm not sure that it's the right model, but I do think people are sort of burnt out on the remakes. My wife is interested in this, but she's not going to spend the $30 on it. I'm not going to. I don't care. I never actually saw the animated one. But I think that other Disney properties would do better. So I don't know that this is a great gauge on what they can do.
Well, you brought up the point about, people getting in groups and seeing it together in a house. I want to kind of talk about that a little bit because I see where you're going with it, but amidst the pandemic. Now, of course, we don't know the percentage of people who are serious about it or think it's a big joke or people who take it very seriously. So I mean, I could maybe see like you invite your friends over, like a couple friends over, but like I just don't see a viewing party.
No. I guess maybe I misspoke there. You're correct. If it's me, I have at least two other families that I know enjoy these new movies like this. I'm gonna set up an Amazon account. All three of us are gonna have access to it. One of us is gonna pay for it. We're all gonna be able to sit at home within that 48-hour span, watch the movie, and then figure out the prices accordingly, I think that's the way I'd go about it. That 48-hour window is a mind meld. I don't get it at all. I don't understand why it's there. I think it should be 24 or probably even less, but I get, stuff happens if you start the movie and, if emergency were to come up and you were in the theater, generally the theater's going to give you a refund and you can come back and watch another time. So these things happen, but I think you're going to see you're not going to see the Trolls model because the Trolls model was right at the beginning of the pandemic. People were stuck at home with their kids, newly stuck at home with their kids, didn't know what to do. And a lot of people rented that movie more than once. That's not happening with this.
No, because also that one was $20. Now this
is true.
Now I do also agree that the $30 range, even though some people might think it's outrageous, because I told my wife that and she goes, I don't know if I want to spend that much to see the Mulan. But the reason I think it's a good idea in the overall scheme of things is because if you think about it, when you go see a family movie like Mulan or a Disney movie or anything like that, you're going to have at least three people. You have at least the mom and dad and the child, or the mom or dad and two children at the very least. So they're charging that $30 is basically equates to 3 tickets. Now I've even saw, like, of course this is all anecdotal, but I was going through the comments of this one on Facebook, seeing what people thought.
I mean,
there were some people who said, oh yeah, I'll easily pay that $30 because it beats paying $100 for that in concessions.
I took my wife and daughter saw Frozen 2 when it was released at the theater. I mean, we went to Flicks here in Des Moines, so it was a dinner and a movie thing.
Yeah,
I dropped a cool $100. That's how it works. It's a real. I can see lots of points because you've got a lot of people that are in these mid markets where tickets are cheaper. Or a lot of theaters do their cheap day, and that's what the people who are going to argue against us will say. I can go, on a $5 day. Me and my kid can go for $10. I'm not spending $30. Where you go the flip side, if you're in LA or New York, this kind of comes off as a steal. 2 people going to see this in the theater. $30 is Yeah, no, we're good. I'm square on that.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see what they report their numbers are on it and how
Mhm.
quickly they give up and just kick it over to the free service
Yeah, and this even brings up an interesting
or paid service, not free.
because either way, because you talked about how people can share their their Disney accounts and the people can watch it else.
Mhm.
As long as 8 million of their subscribers just click that pay, and let's say they share it to 2 or 3 other people, but say just they click to pay that money, they're still going to get their money back with 8 million people out of their 60.5 million people subscribing. So I mean, it's very interesting. And in the time being, they did even say in the article that this is not permanent. Like once things get back to normal, he did state that they're going to honor the agreement they had with theaters in the US, that they will be exclusively on there again. But in this point in time, they're just doing what they have to do to survive. And I get that. So I mean, we will see. I just think it's very interesting that they're doing $30 instead of the Universal's doing the 20.
Yeah, I mean, like with this being, like I said, with this being a family movie, I think it changes a lot of things, and we have a direct comparison. Disney owns, the Marvel, the Black Widow. I mean, we haven't had any conversation. There hasn't been a this gets pushed back, pushed back, pushed back. It was just immediately delayed indefinitely because they know that's a cash cow for them whenever they can get it released. They don't know what Mulan's going to do. We don't know. We've seen a lot of these live actions come and go, and I mean, most of them probably make their money, I imagine, but. Yeah, it's something that they can sort of risk and throw out without too much of a problem.
And these numbers will say whether they release. If the numbers do well, I will guarantee they will release Black Widow on Disney.
Black Widow would do well. Put Black Widow out there at this $30 price point, and it will. You probably, especially in a movie like that, I think they'd get their money back on it.
I found it funny. I found it just for kicks and gigs. I decided to do the math on, say, like 60 million bought this movie, like bought a movie for them at $30.
Not happening because I'm not buying it. But okay.
No. But you know what I'm saying. Even if so, like if let's just say for hypothetical they did, they would make like I think it was like $1.2 billion. So either way, like if it does even half that, they're probably going to push the go button while this is all going on and be like, fine, let's just do all of our films at $30 a pop, and people will buy.
I agree with you, but I think this one might scare them away from that because I don't think it's going to do as well.
Yeah.
I think, and you could have seen a flip side if they'd have done something with Black Widow and then went, oh, okay, we're going to do this with Mulan, and then it don't do so well. It's an imperfect science. We'll see how it goes. We don't know how to deal with all of this, but I mean, give us new content, I guess.
That's true. But more importantly, guys, what do you think of this news? Will you pay to see Mulan for $30 on Disney Plus? Jump in the comments and let us know your thoughts. Moving on to our next segment here. According to MovieWeb.com, Denis Villeneuve is at a sprint, so to speak, to finish his Dune film on time on its release date on December 18th. According to the website, they were asked what he has to do to get this movie done, and he said the following. I was planning to go back and shoot some elements later because I wanted to readjust the movie. I needed time. At the time, I didn't know that it would be be a pandemic. As we are about to go back to do those elements, the impact was that it crushed my schedule right now. It will be a sprint to finish the movie on time now because we are allowed to go back to shoot those elements in a few weeks. It meant also that I'll have to finish some elements of the movie like VFX and editing, being in Montreal as my crew stayed in Los Angeles. He also continued on saying, as a director, there are things that can be done remotely to deal with technology. The supervision of visual effects and some equipment is easy to do from afar. But editing for me is the big lesson from this is I thought it would be possible to edit at a distance. With my editor, Joe Walker, sharing the equipment, being afar from one another, but I realized how much editing is like playing music with someone and you need to be in the same room. There's something about the human interaction, the spontaneity, and the energy in the room. I really miss not being in the same room with my editor. It is very, very painful. Now, Casey, with all the stuff he has going on, and he did say elements. He didn't say specifically what elements, because if people don't know, when a film director says elements, they could be talking about reshoots, B-roll. They could be talking about a numerous number of things. The saying that he has some more elements to do, and he's at a sprint now. It is what, August? Casey, do you think they will have this route ready by December 18th, or do you think they're going to have to postpone? And even if they get it ready, is it still going to come out if we get a second wave? Is it still going to release in theaters?
That second question, I think, may be the more interesting question.
Yeah.
We're watching all of these things, all of these movies now decide to either push back, delay, or plow ahead. We've got some smaller films that are just plowing ahead. Your Bill and Ted's or things like that are just they're just gonna go. They're gonna go VOD. They're gonna, if there are theaters that'll run it, they'll do that. I just don't want to see him rush this movie.
Me neither.
I don't want an inferior product because he sped the process. If it's not going to be done in December, man, push it. Push it to dead. I get it. Like and I don't know that they're trying to win a bunch of awards with this. It's possible.
It's possible.
I imagine there will be technical awards abound for this movie. But if that's the case, I don't think those are going anywhere, man. So, and you got till February to release to qualify now. So, not that that's in their mind at all, but man, if you're not going to have it done, please, 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 just sit on it. Do your thing. Take your time. Put the best product you can out there. And if it means, a spring release, if it means a summer release next year, let's just do that. We may have a better situation with theaters at that point too. You asked me right now if what I think we're going to be looking at in December, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what we're looking at for July next year either, but I would feel more comfortable if my movie were scheduled to be released in July of next year right now than if it were scheduled, in December of this year. It just, I have a bad feeling that a lot of these big, blockbuster, we got a handful of those. We got some good indies coming. I think all of this stuff's going to get pushed. And it would be a real shame if he rushed all of that for it to then basically be forced to be delayed. I would play into it being delayed if I'm him and just, if you get it done, you get it done. If not, we're going to push it a few weeks. People have to understand that's where we're at. We're gonna have delays on all kinds of movies. It's not just, movies that were done didn't hit the screen on time. Movies that were in production didn't finish on time. There's an entire chunk of time that's just sort of missing from the timeline that we have to account for.
I agree. I completely agree with you because, what they also talked about is that they're expanding the first book of Dune into multiple films. So you want to get your first movie right. You want to be able to hook them in and keep them in line. Now, Denis Villeneuve is a fantastic director. I mean, if you guys don't know his repertoire, Blade Runner 2049, Prisoners, Arrival. You could go on and on about how great of a film director he is. So
Blade Runner did look good.
What's that?
Said Blade Runner did look real good.
Yeah, you didn't. You weren't a fan of it. I'll
give you points on the other two, though.
Yeah, I liked it. But anyway, no, Sicario, come on.
Now. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, he's great. I just didn't work for me.
I get what you're saying.
I had to poke a little bit there.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But no, I completely agree. And I don't think, if he doesn't think he'll get done in time, he's not going to. I know he's not the type of director to give out a half of a film or a mediocre film. If he thinks it's good, then he will release it. Because they talked about it in one of the interviews, the Hollywood Roundtable. They talked about that in one of the interviews before. I think it's for Arrival. That, how many reshoots and how many times you have to redo things. He talked about how he wants to do things over and over again until he'll watch a film over and over again until he feels like it's quality enough to release to the public, because that's how important his craft is to him. So I have complete faith in that. Now, is he going to try and get that out there in time? Of course he is. He's going to try his best because he wants to stick to that schedule. But with everything going on, I would not put it past him, and I would be okay if it was postponed. If he needs more time, go ahead and just do it.
There's absolutely, everything for this year is going to come down with an asterisk, but if it gets its release and it's on time, there's absolutely a possibility. It may even be a betting favorite to be the movie that grosses the highest this year.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Tenet might be there depending upon what what all happens with that, but with the weird wonky release that they set up with that, who knows? This could be the big movie of the year now, and that wouldn't have been the guess. It was on the list, but it wouldn't have been the bullet with number one with a bullet on the list at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. So we will see. I love his passion for it, and I love that he has to go back and do research because he wants to make this thing perfect. But Denis, I mean, if
For
you
sure.
happen to listen to our small little video about movie news, if you happen to come across anybody who's close to him, coming from us as fans and as movie reviewers ourselves, just wait, give it your all, and we will be happy and okay with having to wait for something of yours. Because his movies are always have, with the exception of Prisoners, I always feel like his movies have like an epic feel to them. Like they're so much more grander. Even for Sicario, it's supposed to be a small. It's traditionally pretty small. It felt bigger. It felt
Yeah.
more epic. And for me, for his movies, I would love to just wait and wait and see it in the theaters, like Tenet, and have me give it his all, and have to have it rushed out to me. So
Yeah.
all right, folks. And more importantly, what do you guys think of this news? Do you think Denis Villeneuve will have it ready in time on December 8th, or do you think it will be postponed? Leave your comments in the section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, so now moving on. According to comingsoon.net, Matthew Vaughn, the director of The Kingsman, has stated that The Kingsman will set up Kingsman 3. When asked, he said the following: "We've put seeds in what's going to happen in Kingsman 3 all the way back into this, and it's going to be very different." When asked if he's going to return to do Kingsman 3, because he is doing Kingsman, he said the following: "I actually don't know what I want to do. There is an opportunity for a director to really change it up, but I am considering it." Now, what do you think of this, Casey? Now, I remember, for me personally, when they said they're going to do a prequel for the Kingsman world, I was like, why? Like, what's the point? The only way I can see them doing a prequel to help set up Kingsman 3 is that they're going to do like an origin story for a villain. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Like, sorry, a big overarching villain something's gonna happen in the Kingsman, and it's gonna set him up for Kingsman 3. That's the only thing I can see. What are your thoughts on it, Casey? Do you kind of buy into what he's saying, and if so, what do you think it could be that's setting up Kingsman 3?
I mean, what you're saying makes sense. As far as a villain, always love the good old fashioned inside job
Yeah.
type story. It's the call's coming from inside the house. I anticipate something like that. But
Yep.
I mean, I'm a fan of these movies. Even though I'm a fan, I'm a big fan of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was fine. Give
I
me
didn't
more
like
of
it
it,
too much.
absolutely. Um, I mean, it's the world we live in now. It's IP.
Yeah.
People see Kingsman. They enjoyed those movies. Probably they can look at their books and say, "Hey, we made money off of these. These are
Mm-hmm.
recognizable things. These are recognizable actors, especially, bringing back people that are gone. Whatever you want to do there."
Yep.
It's IP. That's the world we live in right now. And if you can keep making until they can't make money off of it, they're going to. That's
Oh.
really what I boil it down to. Period. If you can use this one to set up the next one, absolutely go ahead and do it. But there's also a world where it's just a Marvel-esque after the credits
Mm-hmm.
something sets up the next one. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go throughout the entire movie. I'm fine with it. Like I said, I enjoy the movies, so I'll take that.
And as long as it helps push it in that directive narrative where when Kingsman 3 just comes out, they can jump right into it. Now, I can't remember how far back the Kingsman is compared to the first film. Probably should have researched that one there. I completely spaced on it. But as long as it's like it really dives into something like a villain, and then that way when they go into Kingsman 3, you have more of a like meat to sink your teeth into,
Yeah.
I'm all for it. But if it's some dumb like end credit scene and that's it, I'm gonna be very disappointed because before this news, I felt like the Kingsman was a waste of time. I was like, why
I
are we
think
doing this and just why not just jump into Kingsman 3?
I think it falls somewhere in the middle. I don't know. Would you be surprised if it were because of the scheduling of the actors that were around?
Maybe.
They couldn't hop right into Kingsman 3, so why not throw down a prequel?
So
It's little things like that I'm a little cynical about. So like I said, it's IP driven. And I'm for it because I like this one. If it were one that I didn't like, I might be over here slamming it.
Yeah.
I get it. But for the most part, these have been done well and are a fun ride. So
Oh, yeah.
I anticipate this will be the exact same thing.
Loved
But
Kingsman 1.
if I had to make a prediction, I'd say it falls somewhere in the middle of what you want, a very good setup, and that end credit just pushing off to the next thing. It's going to be somewhere in the middle, which is a lot of ground, and it's not really a bold prediction, but that's what you get from me.
True. Love Kingsman 1. Kingsman 2, not so much. Now, going on to what he said at the very end there, he's not sure if he's going to return, but they are considering a director. Now, they don't state it in the article itself, but this, I know you hate it when I do this, but I'm putting you on the spot.
Me who, aren't you? Don't ask me who. I hate this game.
You know I love to do it because
How about what's his name? Your guy that did the Vast Tonight. Let's put him in there.
Hey, I'm all for that. But I actually had someone in mind.
Okay, let's hear it.
I don't know if his schedule would permit it, but you want someone who's in the same realm of comedy and action.
Sure. Yeah.
Why not Tim Miller? You know, I mean, you could go just throw them in there, cool. But you need somebody who's going to be able to, because the person who took because the second Kingsman, because Matthew Vaughn didn't do such a great job with it. And I feel like maybe a fresh perspective would do so. And that's, to me, that's the only one I can see actually filling in those shoes and sticking to the comedy, but sticking to the visceral action.
The good comedy is very much a key to. Yes. I mean, there was some good comedy in the second one. Don't get me wrong. I think they may have leaned on it a little too heavily.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. If he passes the reins off too.
We'll see. But all right, guys, more importantly, what do you guys think of this news? Who do you think will be directing? If Matthew Vaughn doesn't come back for Kingsman 3, who would you want to direct it? Who do you think they will be selecting? Leave your comments and let us know your thoughts. All right, moving on to our next segment here. According to Variety, Bradley Cooper is being circled to be a part of a Paul Thomas Anderson coming-of-age film about a 70s child actor. Now, according to this, he has been poised to team up with him and star in this film. It will be circled around a child in the 70s who's also going to school, trying to live a normal teen life while also being a movie star. Now, that's pretty much about the article. Now, going back to you, Casey, what do you think about Bradley Cooper being in a Paul Thomas Anderson film? Because if some people don't know, Paul Thomas Anderson is a movie-making icon. I mean, you got movies like Inherent Vice, Master, There Will Be Blood, Punch Drunk Love, Boogie Nights come on, for crying out loud. I mean, this could be a very interesting team up. I don't know. What do you think?
2 words, green light. Give it to me. I'm down. All of those things sound great to me. I am a Bradley Cooper mark. I love everything that he's been a part of.
I mean, you see the little poster. I mean, fans can see the little poster behind you.
Right there. Yeah, I love Bradley Cooper. I don't know of too many bad things that he's done, and teaming up there, who says no? Who that's a fantasy trade. Everyone says who says no? Who's saying no in this deal? No one. Everyone wants to see this. Let's get it done and get the ink on the paper. Let's get it signed up and get it done.
Right, and from what it also says in the article, they haven't had an official title, and they actually don't even quite actually have a writer yet. And I'm very interested in the fact that they're having Bradley Cooper come on even before there's a full script out. So that's kind of intriguing to me. I also think it could be fun when you have someone like Bradley Cooper. Yeah, it's also good when you have someone like Bradley Cooper who has a great director repertoire as far as in The Star is Born, doing so well in that film as far as a director standpoint. Now, I don't think Paul Thomas Anderson needs help by any means. I mean, not at all. Even his most recent film, Phantom Thread, while some people thought it wasn't necessarily their taste, I thought on a filmmaking standpoint it was masterful. But it's also good to have maybe a different perspective on a film such as this. So, I don't know. I mean, with all this news here, you could almost guarantee that this will be coming out for next year, and it will be for the next Oscar base. So we could very well be seeing what could be a possible best actor or best supporting actor probably award for him and Paul Thomas Anderson again getting a director's nod. So
that's what he does. He puts out a movie, put him in that category. That's just how it works
every time. All right, folks, more importantly, this is very short. We just kind of wanted to give you the news. I thought this was very intriguing to talk about. But what did you guys think of this news for Paul Thomas Anderson and Bradley Cooper working together? Leave your comments and share your thoughts. And also, I'm very curious, what is your favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie if you are a fan? Mine would probably be Inherent Vice. I don't know. What about you? What's probably your favorite if you had to think about it?
I just had a very long conversation about Punch Drunk Love the other day.
It's great.
It's really, really good. It's hard to pick a favorite. I wasn't a huge fan of Inherent Vice, but I can understand how people are. I'm not going to knock that film. I would sit here and knock Phantom Thread for you if you wanted me to, but I don't. So, yeah, it's off the top of my head. I'd probably just have to say, and that's how it usually works, right? Your first answer is usually where your brain and your heart goes. So I'll say Punch Drunk Love.
Right behind it is Boogie Nights, and then probably There Will Be Blood. The only reason There Will Be Blood was just it felt really long.
I need to sit down and rewatch Boogie Nights. It's been so long.
It's great.
I'm sad. We were gonna run it as a feature this summer in our summer series. I was gonna sit down and watch it in the auditorium, and yeah, damn it, COVID.
Freaking pandemic.
It sucks. We'll try to book that one again though, because I was looking forward to that.
Right. All right, guys, moving on to our last segment of the day, and it's not probably going to be a very long much to talk about, but it is very interesting to talk about. According to Deadline, the Kissing Booth star Joey King is going to be joining up is in talks, to join Brad Pitt in a David Leitch Assassin. This is how they quoted it, an assassin thriller called Bullet Train. Now, I don't know about the title, but this is actually a very interesting mix. Of course, you're going to get Brad Pitt in there. He's probably going to kill it. He's probably doing training just like every other action star previously has, like Charlize Theron, Halle Berry, and
it's been a while though, hasn't it?
For him,
do some action stuff.
He kind of did something with, World War Z, if you maybe want to count that. It wasn't much, Daston.
I guess.
But I feel like he's maybe going to try and do in the vein like Keanu Reeves with this. Kind of just because the simple fact that David Leitch is the executive producer on all the John Wick films. Yeah. He was uncredited for the first film, but he also did Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, and so forth. Now, with the other interesting part here is Joey King with the Kissing Booth. Now, I can't remember what else. She looks so familiar. What else she's been in? I think she was in that Hulu film about the girl who was sick. Probably. Oh, she's also in Wish Upon. She was in Independence Day Resurgence. Let's see. She was in Going in Style. Wish I Was Here. That's another really good one. White House Down. Oz the Great and Powerful. So she's been in she was also in The Conjuring. She was one of the daughters. So she's been in quite a bit. She's been around for quite a while. I thought she was the girl that was in the Hulu film. I just can't remember the name. But either way, what do you think of this news, Casey? Are you excited about Brad Pitt, at least in a David Leitch film? Because this is going to be an action thriller. So it's but the title for me, Bullet Train, like that's, I don't know.
I don't want to hop on and judge it too early, but no, it doesn't sound great. Sounds a little generic. Sounds a little. Sounds like the name that they slap on the old film reel to to send it to a theater so no one knows what actually the movie. I forget what the Star Wars ones were. But I want to see him in this thriller role. Like I said, it's been a while. We had to ask, when was the last thing? And if it's something in the vein of a John Wick, absolutely. Again, I feel the same way about Brad Pitt for the most part that I feel about Bradley Cooper. I am going to watch whatever it is he's a part of. So let's get it done.
Because in his younger years, he was a part of a lot of great action films.
Absolutely.
Like
it's
Troy,
been a while.
Oh, yeah, Troy, Fight Club, and so on. But he in Once Upon a Time, he wasn't really doing anything action-related. Neither was Ad Astra, things of that nature. So I would like to see kind of
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Wow. Man, you're going old with that one.
Yeah. I worked in a theater for a very long time, Josh.
But yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun to see him in an action thriller, especially something with David Leitch, because I love his style. Like, it's him and the other guy who did John Wick. I love their style. But you also see it. You saw it in Atomic Blonde as well. You saw how they're doing more stylized action. And that's I'm glad to see that maybe the direction more action films are going, because it looks so much better.
Yeah.
You're actually able to watch and enjoy the action and see the visceral parts of it and not have shaky cam and cuts all the constant time, kind of like how Resident Evil did, so many years ago.
Yeah.
And I just find this very refreshing. Now, the Joey King edition is very interesting because I'm not sure maybe if she's going to be a daughter or maybe a prodigy Because I mean, how old is she now? She's 21, so she could very easily play a young adult who maybe, Brad Pitt's character picks up and all of a sudden he trains her. That could be very interesting, and maybe like a father-daughter dynamic, but more just he found her and he brought her in and so forth. That could be a lot of fun. But so going on with this, who do you like? What am I trying to ask here? Do you think that this would be the kind of action that he will do like Keanu Reeves, or do you think it'll be more subdued? Because what do you think?
I mean, I don't know that they want to completely knock off something like John Wick. I mean, those movies are a little over the top. They're fun, don't get me wrong, but they are over the top. There's a lot there. Something, take that and take it down a couple notches, I think is where we're looking.
Maybe more realistic.
I think so, and I think that's right about where we want Brad Pitt to be. It just makes sense to me. Not that that's not where we want Keanu Reeves to be, but he's just sort of ascended to this thing that he is now.
Action
and it's amazing.
God.
This ridiculous thing that he's doing, and it's amazing, and I love it. But I just don't see Brad Pitt making those choices.
Mm-hmm.
I think his style would be a little more realistic. I say that as we go back and look at exactly what he just did with Tarantino and the Bruce Lee scene. But
true.
He's got no problem, not being closer to realistic. But I think that's where we'll come down on it, and that's where I would prefer to see it, I think.
I find it crazy at the age of 56, the dude is still such in ridiculous shape as he is. Because, when he takes the shirt off in Once Upon a Time.
Will they write in a scene for him just to take his shirt off?
Right.
Like they did, and that's why that scene was there.
Dude is still cut as all shit for being in his 50s. It's insane. And I find it funny that Keanu Reeves and him are like Brad Pitt's only a year older. That's it. So maybe if they did go, I do agree with you. I don't want it too over the top by John Wick because you don't want to mimic John Wick. John Wick is its own thing.
Yeah.
I would maybe do like a blend between that and Sicario, maybe very more real and visceral. Yeah. Whereas that one's a little more stylized.
Like that. You could sell me on that.
Yeah. So I don't know that it could be very intriguing. I just love if maybe we're actually going to finally get something a little more actiony from him because we've got a lot of dramas from him, and I appreciate that. But dive into a little bit of something a little fun. Like Bruce Willis is doing it. You
don't have to be nominated for an Oscar for every movie that you make, Brad. Let's
have
some fun.
Have some fun with something here. But I'm very excited for that one. That could be a lot of fun. And I'm glad to see, again, a lot of these movies talk about, like, these pairings are just really interesting that ones we haven't seen. Brad Pitt, David Leitch, Bradley Cooper, Paul Thomas Anderson, just kind of going on and on. It's kind of exciting to see these pairings come together.
Very exciting.
Oh, yeah. But more importantly, guys, what do you think of this news? What are you excited for the David Leitch and Brad Pitt action film? Leave your comments and let us know. But that will also do it for us today, folks. Thank you very much for watching us today. What do you think of all of our movie news? If you did like it, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you can receive more of our various content in the future. Also, like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Stardust, and the links are in the description below, as always. Casey, where can people find you at?
Yeah, we're going weekly on Just Another Football Show. We're previewing teams until they tell us not to. So that's the big thing right now. I keep saying it. We're gonna do something with Just Another Movie Show. We just got to find the right time and the right things to talk about.
We still haven't done our top 10 best year, and it's like August now.
Yeah, we're getting past the halfway point, but
yeah, but it's okay.
Trying to do some catching up, but yeah. I mean, Just Another Movie Show. Subscribe, find us. The major thing right now is Just Another Football Show. Facebook, we got a good Facebook group. There's lots of people out there. We're having fun. We're talking about all the stuff and having a good time. So find us out there. Yeah.
I do enjoy watching football. I do listen to you guys' podcast, and I can say firsthand, you guys are very fun to watch, very fun to listen to.
We try to have a little fun.
Yeah. All right, guys. That'll do it to say. I'm Josh Williams.
Casey McKinney.
And thank you for keeping it real with ReelTime. See you later.